What is going on, everybody? We're here with another episode of JR Takes. As always, Ryan and I coming at you with the latest Seattle and NFL news. Ryan, we got the Buffalo Bills coming to town this weekend. Pretty excited for this matchup. Even though I don't love the matchup, it's kind of cool to see Josh Allen coming to town.
Yeah, and I'm going to be at the game, so win or lose, it's going to be... I'm really excited to be able to watch Josh Allen, in the flesh.
Well, yeah.
Are you guys thinking about getting tickets?
Jaron texted me and Colby and asked if we were interested in going, but that means you're
really
the lucky
expensive.
one. You're
What's the
Nosebleeds are like $400, $500.
I don't know.
All right. Well, probably won't be going to the game, but that makes you the lucky one, I guess, because we'll be having to listen to none other than Tom Brady himself on the broadcast.
Right. I'm gonna miss it.
So yeah, that'll be fun listening to. I guess I haven't really even listened to him at all this year. So
I haven't either. I haven't really watched because we've just been watching Red Zone for the most part.
Yeah.
But
So
I'll be in the same structure as Tom Brady for an afternoon. That's how I'm spending
you're
my
so
Sunday.
lucky.
Goated. Anyways, I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup for sure. Josh Allen is playing. He's not necessarily getting the MVP hype right now, but he's playing at an MVP level. 12 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. They're not seemingly relying on him as much in years past. It seems like their run game has been more of a thing with James Cook this year than it was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But they're a really, really hard team to stop on offense in general. And their defense, they're kind of similar to the way we played this last week, where they give up quite a few yards. They've been averaging, I think, giving up 358 yards a game, and that's over 130 on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But they're only allowing 19 points per game. So they're kind of a bend but don't break defense this year.
Right.
They have 7 interceptions. So it's going to be a tough matchup for sure. I think we need to get the home field advantage back in this game because I feel like there's been a lot of opposing teams' fans in Lumen Field in recent years, and that's got to stop. We got to find a way to regain that advantage that we used to have for so many years.
I worry about that too because I feel like there's a lot of Bills fans that are Canadian, and so maybe they're going to come down like they do for the Blue Jays games and take up the stadium. But probably not. I doubt that's going to happen. I feel like Seahawks fans are pretty... I don't know. I guess I haven't been to a game in a while.
I don't know, man. I feel like, 10, 12 years ago, there was hardly any opposing fans most games. It'd be 1 out of every 12 people you see at the most. But I swear in recent years, there's been more and more opposing teams fans getting into the stadium somehow. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that. Real quick, just before we started the podcast, I was looking at some Josh Allen numbers. He's tied for second in 40-yard plus plays with 5 amongst quarterbacks. I feel like that is going to be something we're going to have to stop on Sunday is don't let the big plays happen because I feel like if Josh Allen gets free on a run, he could just be gone. And really don't want to see that happening, us not being able to stop the run. I feel a lot more confident with Byron Murphy back. He looked really good against the Falcons.
He's a difference maker for sure.
Yeah, so I think I'm most excited for that matchup, us being able to stop Josh Allen and James Cook, because James Cook's really been on the rise this season.
He's slippery too. He's a lot less of an imposing threat as opposed to what we had last week with Bijan. I mean, Bijan's insane. But He's a really shifty. He's kind of like a Jahmyr Gibbs type, I would say. So it's similar type of player. And Josh Allen by far will be the most talented quarterback we've played this season. So it's the first elite test, I think. Jared Goff is having a really good season and he completed every pass against us. But I think that game was a little bit of an outlier considering our entire front seven was injured. But he can, if Josh Allen gets free on a scramble and he's rolling to his right, it's usually a bad sign because he can just uncork ridiculous throws with pinpoint accuracy, moving to his right, and he's got one of the best arms I've ever seen. So it's gonna be It's going to be a really big challenge, and it's actually the first time we've played them since the COVID year. And
last time we blew us out.
Yeah, last time we played the Bills, they literally, granted this was a different time where the Seahawks had a defense that was only good at stopping the run and nothing else. The Bills just literally didn't run the ball. They threw the ball like every play, and I think we sacked Josh Allen like 7 or 8 times. But we were so bad at stopping anything in the passing game besides that it didn't matter. And they beat us like 42-31 or whatever the score was. So I really hope it's not a repeat of that. I will say I don't think this defense is nearly as good as the Bills' defense has been the last couple of years. So I think there will be opportunities to be had. However, they're really opportunistic. So Geno needs to take good care of the ball in this game. If he throws a couple errant passes like we did against the 49ers, we're going to lose. We cannot commit any turnover. It has to be a lot like we played against the Falcons last week. I think we got to find a way to get a turnover or two, and I think we got to take care of the ball and just, play on schedule.
Yeah, the Bills' only 2 losses this year have come on the road, and they've been against 2 really good teams in the Baltimore Ravens and the Texans. So I feel like if, like you were saying about the home field advantage thing, I feel like we need to, I don't know, do something scheme-wise on defense to maybe throw Josh Allen off his game, because I just don't really love the matchup. And I've kind of come back down to earth since the first 3 weeks when we started off 3-0. Like, I'm not gonna think too far ahead with this team, and I'm gonna be realistic when it comes to this matchup against Buffalo, because I don't love it. Not sure we'll win it, but I think it'll be kind of a high-scoring game, shootout.
I think so too. I think this will be a game a lot more like what we were predicting for last week, where it is a true shootout. We were kind of the only team that showed up in Atlanta this last Sunday, but I fully expect the Bills to bring it and execute, because Josh Allen is an elite quarterback playing at the height of his power right now, where his mental acuity is matching up with his physical prime. So he's tough to stop, and he has not been making any mistakes, like as far as interceptions are concerned this year so far, which does mean he's due for one, though. You can only do that for so long. But I think the fact that we are at home, to be frank, if we were in the tundra, if we were on the road, I don't think I'd give us a chance for this game. But it's going to be a little rainy. We're going to be in front of, 70,000 screaming fans. So I'm giving us a fair shot in this game. I'm thinking both teams are going to score in the 30s, though.
Yeah, I'm giving us a fair shot too. I just wonder if Geno can keep up with Josh Allen in that offense, and maybe they can, because I didn't think that we would play the way we did against Kirk Cousins. I thought Kirk Cousins was going to pick us apart, and he just didn't do that at all.
No, and most of his success came in the first half too. Like that whole Falcons offense was like stymied in the second half for the most part.
Yeah, so after seeing that, I'm like, wow, maybe we can beat the Bills at home.
Especially getting a guy like Tariq Woolen back. I mean, granted, we may be down DK, and I think if we are down DK, it's gonna be it's hard to see us winning this game. But Tariq Woolen coming back helps mitigate the addition of Amari Cooper on the Bills side. And I think as far as their receivers versus our secondary, I mostly like the matchup. I think on defense, it's going to come down to how many plays can our front seven, mostly the pass rush, make. If we can get to Josh Allen, force a fumble or something, I think that could turn the tide in this game. If he has all day to throw back there, it's good night. We're going to lose.
Yeah, with my prediction score, I'm going to say 38-35.
Who's the
winner?
winner?
Switching. I'm going to take us. We're going to win.
Oh, okay.
We're going to win at home. We're going to win by a field goal.
A field goal. I like to see it. I feel like I'm feeling a 27-24 kind of game, actually, the more I think about it. It's going to be a little rainy. I feel like there's going to be some unexpected defense played in this game.
I'm gonna say
for
the
no
weather.
particular reason.
I'm gonna say the weather clears up, and that's why it's gonna be high scoring. Otherwise, I look like a huge idiot if I'm gonna say it's good.
It's not supposed to be that bad. I'm just trying to have a different prediction than you, so I'm not like I agree with everything you say, Jonah. But I think we're gonna find a way to win this one. I think. Had we barely squeaked by the Falcons, I probably wouldn't be feeling that optimistic. But I think there was a lot of real optimism to be had from the way we played, especially once we finally had an adequate gap between games.
Mm-hmm. Once we got rest, finally.
Yeah. And I think you're starting to see some of the McDonald-ism set in with this team a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think because we're at home, we're gonna find a way to win this thing. But I think it's gonna be a one-score game deep into the fourth quarter. Is my prediction.
I agree. Should we kind of go a little bit around the league and talk about our former quarterback?
Yeah, let's start off with that. I do want to talk about Tua. I guess let's just quick aside. Tua is not going to wear one of the Guardian caps. He came out and said he's coming back, and he's not wearing a Guardian cap. What are you doing, man?
Pissed. He was like had anger towards the Guardian cap.
Dude, it doesn't make you less of a man. Like, do you care about your brain?
I'll try to put that up if you haven't seen it, Jonah.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
he was like insulted that someone's like, "Are you gonna wear the Guardian cap?" Like, bro, you've had like 96 concussions. You're lucky that you still get a chance to play here, and doctors weren't like, "Stop." So I don't know. I don't get that one at all. But I just saw that like pop up yesterday or something, so thought it'd be worth talking about.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that, but that is surprising, I guess. I mean, I guess it's Tua's choice, but I'm surprised the NFL doesn't step in and be like, "Listen, you can play, but you have to do this."
Yeah. I mean, hopefully he doesn't need it. Hopefully he just starts playing like he's 40 and just crumbles to the ground. Oh, are you pulling it up real quick?
Yeah. Okay, here it is.
Nope.
Why? Will you wear a Guardian cap?
Nope.
Why?
Personal choice.
Are you? Will
Why is he
this
treating
change
it like
your
it's like the
style of
COVID
play,
vaccine
your
or something?
decision to scramble or run or things like that?
It's got to be smart. That's it. It's got to be smart. My entire time playing football, I've been a competitor, and that, is or was sort of my edge when I would run from high school. Even in college, I would do the same thing. But it's a professional, setting. This is the professional level, the best of the best. You just can't be doing that. So definitely gotta stay more available for the team, for the organization, for our guys.
Yeah, I don't get it. But
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything he said. I just you could believe all that and still wear the Guardian cap and everything. Nothing changes other than you have.
it's not gonna slow you down, bro. It's
Other
not
than
like it
you
weighs 30
have
pounds.
a bigger head than everyone on the football field, and it might look a little silly. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting used to seeing them.
I don't think they look that dumb.
No, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, when I first saw them, I was like, that looks so stupid. But now when I see them, I'm like, okay, yeah.
I think this year they made the design for him a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Like they look a little sleeker. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that he's getting to play again, but man, I really hope he doesn't take another hit like that.
I feel like once you have a certain amount of concussions, it should be protocol or mandatory that you have to wear the Guardian cap. Like,
It's a fair point.
Why isn't that a rule?
Probably just because they've only existed for like a year.
No,
So
right.
and I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't know how much like data they have on how effective they are and yada yada yada.
It can't hurt you.
True. But anywho, our former boy.
Wait, are you talking about this boy?
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about Mr. Unlimited.
The cooking... I was going to say the cooking monster. The cookie whatever. He was cooking. Let it be
This was
clear.
the most... I mean, I know he had some good games in Denver, especially last year, but this was the most you've seen Wilson cook since he was wearing that uniform. I felt something when he uncorked those deep plays to pick it, to be honest. It like, because I just haven't seen... Like, I feel like he didn't do that hardly at all with Denver, and... like I think everybody in the Seattle sports world was pretty mad at this guy March of 2022 when we traded him because it seems like he forced his way out. But I haven't really cared about that for about a year. And at this point, like, I was just getting sick of people, like shitting all over him constantly. Like, yeah, he's cringy and kind of a weirdo, but like he's a good guy as far as I can tell. And he's one of the best quarterbacks ever played this game. And people just didn't see that because he's in the Seattle market. And now that he's on a, marquee East Coast team in Pittsburgh and playing well, I'm kind of happy to see it, even as a former Steeler hater from Super Bowl XL.
Yeah, I feel like just the way he's acted, like the cringe things you mentioned, has kind of given him like a negative spotlight and kind of told a false narrative about his gameplay.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like this podcast that I listen to all the time, this guy, basically his viewpoint on Russell Wilson is, he just dinks and dunks all the time. But I feel like Russell doesn't play that way
That's
at
somebody
all.
that never watched the Seahawks the whole time we had him.
And
he's the anti-dink and dunk.
I know, and
he's the bomb.
He really is, because that moon ball he threw to Pickens, that like brought me right back to his playing days here.
Yeah.
When he would do that like against the Niners or whoever it was.
That would usually be like he would get like 4 or 5 moon balls completed a game usually, and that was like 80% of his yardage every year.
Yeah.
He plays a really unorthodox way for most quarterbacks, but he gets this level of arc on his deep passes that I don't really see any other quarterback doing still to this day. And that's why you see guys being able to make these one-handed catches and stuff, is because that thing's not coming in like a laser. It's just gently floating. And it's really
and by
easy
the
to
time
grab.
it comes down, it comes down, the ball is like on a downward trajectory, so it is easier to catch.
And it's something that, like, when I watch Fields, like, yeah, he's got a good arm, but it's a bullet. He has no off speed. It's all got to come in with velocity, and just that touch is something that Wilson is very special at his whole career. So it was just really nice to see, and I hope it wasn't a flash in the pan thing and he goes back to how he was for Denver, because I think the NFL in general is better when he's playing well with how bad look at the way Patrick Mahomes has played this year. Like, there's just a lot of down play at the quarterback position this year, and it's just more entertaining when someone like Wilson's playing good.
Yeah, and I don't know if you watched that game, but the Jets were kind of taking it to him early on in the game, and then I think Rodgers threw that interception, and then it just 180'd the whole entire game. Like, the Jets just could not stop making mistakes, and Russell Wilson was capitalizing on everything that they were giving him. So it was pretty awesome to see, and I think the way the Steelers play is the perfect formula for him to play well and succeed.
Well, that's what was kind of freaking me out watching the game, because I was like, wow, this is so much like, early 2010 Seattle, where Wilson starts off the game shaky, then hits his one big play and starts going on a tear. The defense makes turnovers and has a dominant run game. Like, that is the exact formula that we employed for years in Seattle.
How crazy would that be if he beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? That'd be so awesome.
I would be cheering for the Steelers as hard as I do for the Seahawks in that potential matchup, because the Chiefs, we'll get into it in the power rankings, but I don't know what it's going to take this year to have someone knock them off in the AFC.
I can't. Have you guys seen Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity with Travis Kelce?
Oh my God!
It's one of the worst. I've watched.
Please don't show me.
I've watched 20 minutes of it with the sound off at work.
Why?
And no subtitles.
So you're just watching the vibe everyone was putting on?
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
But yeah, anyways, that was cool to see, and I'm glad I don't have to hear people say why Justin Fields is a better choice, because it never made sense to me.
Yeah, agreed. Which, for the record, hats off to Justin Fields.
He played well, and I think he still has a future in this league. It's just there's a clear difference.
I was also going to bring up what he said when he was asked about it, and he basically straight up said, "I didn't play well enough," and that was like, wow, at least he's being real and not being like a baby about it. He's being very mature.
Well, and I think he's got a future with that team. Like, Wilson will probably – it might even just be a one-and-done thing with Pittsburgh. Who knows? But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch that situation unfold because they got two guys they can win with. And I feel like the last time I really saw a team like that was just sort of like the 2015 Broncos had a really good defense, and then two quarterbacks they could win with. Not that comparable. I mean, Osweiler and near deathbed Peyton Manning were not lighting up the stat sheet by any means. But anywho.
Well, should we move this in the direction of our power rankings?
Yeah. You want to get us started off on it? Who's your number one?
Yeah, I think it's no surprise here. The Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they made Brock Purdy look like fucking Mitchell Trubisky on Sunday. So, yeah, the Chiefs, they still reign supreme. I'm really now after I saw Russell Wilson play though, I'm hoping maybe we got a dark horse in Pittsburgh that'll knock him off, and
that'd be a really fun playoff matchup.
That would be like. I feel like the only team that could beat Mahomes is the Steelers' defense. Like a TJ Watt, just like sacking him every other play. Like
their defense is like arguably the best this year, but the Chiefs' defense is also nasty. Like their Spags has got them playing really well right now.
That's why I got them at 1. So
yeah, and I finally gave up on trying to will them out of the top spot in my rankings. The Chiefs are back in the top spot. Probably should have never left, but I'm sick of it.
Yeah,
I was rooting for them this week because fuck the Niners, but yeah, they're just they're winning every game right now with Patrick Mahomes playing the worst football of his career, and I feel like you don't need to analyze it any deeper than that. That's a scary situation for the rest of the league. A team that I think could really give them a run for their money and already did this season, though. My number 2 spot is the Ravens. Now that they have Derrick Henry really kicking it into high gear here, I genuinely don't know what you do to stop this offense because it seems to be someone else in the passing game emerges each week. Lamar is playing arguably the best football of his career for a guy that's won 2 MVPs. That's crazy. And then, their defense is solid. So it's a tough outing to play against the Ravens this year for sure.
Did you say Chiefs number 1 for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I also have the Ravens. Pretty much everything you just mentioned, but after watching last night, because I'm kind of a believer in the Buccaneers. I know they lost both their receivers, but they're a good team. And the Ravens were down early, but they kind of just I think they made it, 10-7, but they just kind of never let up and got a couple turnovers and just really steamrolled the Buccaneers. I know they only won by 10, but really that game was out of reach, early.
Yeah.
Almost late third quarter, I want to say.
There's an argument that they should have just given up and thrown in the towel so Godwin would still have an ankle.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you saw that injury. That was grotesque.
I did see it, but it all happened so fast, and I didn't rewind it or anything. So when it happened live, I was like, "Oh, his leg kind of his foot kind of looked like Dak's did that one time when it was bent." And
it was not facing the right direction.
Yeah, that's what I thought I saw, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw what I saw. If they're not going to show us again."
Yeah, you don't want to see it.
Yeah. But yeah, I got Ravens at 2. I just think their rushing attack, as long as Derrick Henry can stay on the field, they're going to be nearly impossible to stop. So, yep, Ravens 2, and then 3, I got the Detroit Lions. They knocked off the undefeated Vikings on the road this Sunday. So, I just really like the Lions. Ever since I said I wasn't sure about their defense, their defense has looked really good, honestly. So, I don't really see any other team in the NFC slowing these guys down.
I'm right there with you because the Lions are also my number 3 team in the power rankings this week. They knocked off the undefeated Vikings for their first loss on the road, as you said. Came down to the wire, came down to a last-second field goal, but Jameer really lit up that Vikings defense on the last drive to get into field goal territory. And, the Lions just lost Jameson Williams to a suspension for 2 games. But I think they're just going to start getting the ball to Laporta more in his absence because Jameson Williams' emergence has kind of taken away from the production of Laporta, but he's still, I mean, the guy was like the best tight end in football last year. So
Right.
I just think that that's a team that has so many ways to beat you. It's, again, like you could see them making it all the way to the NFC Championship, Super Bowl again this year. They're at that level. And the 49ers, man, I'll just say this, they will not be appearing in my top 10 this week. I think they might be cooked. And then at number 4, I do have the Vikings staying in the top 4. I know they dropped a game, but it came down to the wire. They had a fourth quarter, like last 2-minute lead against the Lions, and I don't have any new doubt in them after that game. It was just a, just battle to the very end between two very good teams, and what's wild is they're in the same division. So only one of those two teams is going to be a wild card team this year.
Yeah. Well, I also have the Vikings. This is the first week we finally have the same exact top 4. But yeah, everything you said, I think the Vikings are still elite. They barely lost that game. Probably should have won that game, but yeah, they'll remain at 4 for me, and then at 5. I got another NFC North team, Green Bay Packers. They knocked off the Houston Texans, and it was a really close game too. Every week the Packers are giving me more reasons to believe in them, and I just really like Jordan Love and the way that offense plays. It seems like anyone can get open at any time and make a big play. So I got the Green Bay Packers at 5.
Reasonable. I got the team we're playing this weekend at number 5, Buffalo Bills. They played the Titans, I believe, and the Titans got a good defense, but Buffalo was eventually able to just better team pull away from them late in that game, and they're just like, just all around really solid, and they have a quarterback playing as good as anybody right now. So that not much to say about the Bills. They're a team that you're going to expect to see at least into the Elite 8 this postseason. And then at number 6, this team has really impressed me. I did not think I'd be sitting here putting them in top 6 2 weeks ago, but that's the Washington Commanders. They're arguably Rookie of the Year front runner, and Jaden Daniels goes down, and they still blow out the Panthers and put up, I believe, over 40 points.
I think it was 40-7.
Yeah,
right?
something
40,
like that.
Yeah.
Something where the game was unwatchable after the second quarter. That's all I know. And Jaden Daniels been down like pretty early into that game. So with Marcus Mariota, they're still lighting up. I mean, granted, I think the Panthers are just that bad, but usually when teams are winning by a lot like that and putting up a lot of points often, it's not really a fluke anymore. So to me, I'm starting to believe in that Commanders and Dan Quinn. Got to be happy for the guy after how everything has gone since the Atlanta Super Bowl for him. Right.
For me at 6, I had the Buffalo Bills. I don't know. I think the Bills and the Packers, if they played each other, it would be a coin flip to me. I think they're both super talented. And then at 7, the Washington Commanders fell a little bit for me. I did have them at 6 the past 2 weeks, but I know they did kick the Panthers' ass with Marcus Mariota, but I just wonder if they can do that to other teams not named the Carolina Panthers with guys not named Jaden Daniels, because I don't know, he was having a hell of a start to his season, and I think he'll be back soon, but
it doesn't sound like he'll miss more than a game or two.
Yeah, but I just have them falling just down a peg just in case of his absence. And then and then to you, right? Or you already did your 7, didn't you?
No, I haven't got there yet.
Okay.
But number 7, I have the Packers.
Gotcha.
I feel like every team, like 5, 6, 7, really like 5 through 8. I don't have like a huge reason to put one above the other. Like I feel like there's your top 4, which were both of our top 4s this week. I think they're kind of in a tier of their own. And then this next block of teams, I think are in that second tier where they could make it all the way this year, but you don't really expect them to be in like the NFC Championship, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And the Packers kind of fall into that category for me. They look legit. I mean, they got one of the more dynamic groups on offense. Josh Jacobs has been a big addition for them in the backfield. And Jordan Love, I mean, he's like, someone joked that he simultaneously possesses the attributes of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers at the same time. And it's kind of true because, like, he'll make these insane throws and then he'll just throw a pick that's like, dude, what was that?
I know. Like, or I think I heard something like he gets like Will Levis points sometimes because like that play against the Rams where he was just like running to the sideline and like just throws it as he's falling out of bounds.
Yeah.
And just gets pick six.
Yeah, just classic, trying too hard plays. And then they just beat this team in the Texans, who I have at number 8. But it's kind of like the Vikings and Lions, where those teams just played such a close game, and the team that lost was winning until a last-second field goal. So I don't really feel the need to knock them down any lower than that. I think C.J. Stroud, honestly, the main reason why I have the Packers above the Texans and could have the Packers even higher is their defense has played really well this year, because C.J. Stroud has played fantastic, and he did not look good versus the Packers. But Lambeau is always a tough place to play in, so I wouldn't think that that's going to continue for CJ. But, yep, Texans at number 8.
Yeah, I also have the Texans at 8. I feel like every game they've lost has been to a team that I think could potentially like go all the way to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, like you were saying about that tier, that second level tier, I think the Texans are good. They're a really good team. I just they're at 8 for me just because of my personal preference on the teams. I put 5 through 7. I kind of like them more right now. And then at number 9, you're not going to believe this, but my number 9 pick, it's pretty spicy.
Yeah.
I got the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 9. They're a shocking 5-2. Kind of forget about that with Justin Fields taking them to 4-2, and then Russ knocking off the dumpster fire, I guess, Jets. I don't even.
They got to be the most talented 2-5 team of all time, because it does, on paper, they should be a juggernaut, but they're a loser.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, the Steelers looked really good in that game, and I heard a stat, they put up the most points they've scored since 2021. So
wow.
Yeah. So I mean, you could say it's because of Russ. Who knows?
Well, I'm going. I fully agree with you. I have the Steelers at 9 as well.
That's
I guess I
hilarious.
don't have any better way to say it than that. You took a lot of the thoughts I had on it. But, I mean, I have been underrating the Steelers just because I'm like, they've played some bad teams. And, like, yeah, their defense has looked really good, but they haven't played that many good offenses. I know Aaron Rodgers isn't playing his best ball right now, but they destroyed that Jets offense for a lot of that game and just forced turnovers up and down. And in addition, I mean, I wasn't a big believer in the Steelers because they weren't scoring a lot of points, but they've put up over 30 in the last 2 weeks, both games, and they've played. I mean, the Jets defense is supposed to be elite, so to drop almost 40 on them is really impressive. And with Russ unlocking that vertical aspect, it's just, they're going to be a tough outing because they were already going to ugly up every game, all 17 of them this year with that defense. And now that they have that explosive element a little more, and maybe they'll mix in some packages where they have Wilson and Fields on this field at the same time and doing like trick plays and stuff.
That'd be kind of fun.
Probably don't want to do it too much and get a Tebow Sanchez situation going on, if you remember.
How could I forget? They did that during a Seahawks game, didn't they? Where they were going back and forth. Yeah, it was terrible. And then
Colby, I didn't copy Jonah, okay? That was my own independent decision that I did before we even discussed it.
And then you want to do your number 10?
Yeah, number 10, Whatever. I have the Seattle Seahawks reemerging in the top 10 because I think when Byron Murphy is on the field, it makes that big of a difference. The Falcons' offense has performed better than possibly every other team we played here this year besides the Lions, and we held them to 14 points in their own stadium in a dome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really impressed by that. The more time that we get away from the game, and I don't think there was anything really that fluky about it because both of the Kirk Cousins interceptions, guess who was getting interior pressure up the middle? It was Byron Murphy right in his face. And that's why, when you have someone, I'm not saying he's like this player at all yet, but I'm just saying when we played against Aaron Donald for all those years, him coming through the middle of the offensive line right at the quarterback would just, especially on key plays like third down, it ruins games for offenses. It's way harder to deal with than a good edge rusher. So I think we should be considering being buyers at the trade deadline here and maybe getting another piece, maybe as a linebacker or something. But I forget his name. It's like Roy Robertson Harris or something. The guy we got from Jacksonville. Yeah. He also looked pretty good out there, and I think he really improved the depth in that rotation. So I don't know how long we'll be in the top 10, but for this week, with all the injuries that happened to the Buccaneers, we just beat the Falcons. The 49ers looked horrible. I don't believe in the Eagles at all. I'm like, why not just put us in there?
Yeah, I only didn't put us at 10. Well, kind of for two reasons. I'm just going to need to see us play like that on defense one more time against a good team like that. Let's do it against the Bills this weekend, and then you'll probably be even higher than 10. But, and then, I don't know, you mentioned the Eagles. I was thinking about putting them at 10 just because when they just give the ball to Saquon the whole game, that they win. And they just need to stick to doing that. Otherwise, they don't win. So I'm not really a believer in them either. So I have the Bucs at 10. I know they lost their two receivers, and I know they lost to the Ravens, but I just feel like Baker is. I pretty much watched that whole game last night, and even though he had 2 picks, he was a fun watch. He was being a gunslinger, and I feel like even with those 2 guys out, I think Evans is only going to be out a couple games or so, but I just think I'm kind of a believer in the Bucs still, and I look at it like, do I think that we would beat the Bucs if we played them? I don't know. It would be a good game, I think. So I'm just gonna wait maybe a game or 2 more till I put the Seahawks in the 10 spot.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean I felt a little premature about it too, considering how I felt just a week ago, but. Well, I mean, a lot happened this weekend, man. A lot of people got hurt at key positions for a lot of teams. So, and we're the division leader right now. So I think there's definitely an argument for it. I wouldn't put us I wouldn't put us above any of those teams I listed though. But
yeah.
I think you could say, I mean, a lot of people would probably have the Eagles in the top 10 just for their talent. My thing with the Eagles is I think Nick Sirianni is going to be fired within the next calendar year. I just don't think that guy has it.
Hungry and humble. Hungry and humble.
I don't think his players take him seriously. I've seen some interactions on the sideline that were very cringy and just gave me a feeling of I don't know if these guys respect him all that much. There's a lot of talent on that team. They've assembled a very talented team, but Jason Kelsey retired. That's a big loss for them. He's a Hall of Fame type player. And I don't really think Jalen Hurts is that good besides doing the tush push and throwing it to A.J. Brown. So I just think there's vulnerabilities with that team that I don't see them making it to the Super Bowl, long story short.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. That's why, I mean, Nick Sirianni he doesn't call the plays, and we watched him say hungry and humble 3 times.
Hungry and humble. Hungry and humble. Hungry and humble. It's about everyone.
And I don't take from that he's a good motivator. So what does he do? And then you pair that with them barely beating the Browns, and it's just, they're I don't know. They're just not. Now I'm thinking about
3 times. No, when you put it like that, it like makes it sound even worse.
So yeah, I just don't believe that they'll stick to their game plan of feed Saquon because they just haven't done that. I mean, if they had been doing that all year, like I wouldn't really have anything to complain about as far as them. But yeah, I don't know. I just not a believer in Nicky.
Yeah, like the longer I watch football, the more I like bolster my opinion of coaching is maybe the most important part of football, and I don't think Sirianni is a good coach. So that's the spiel on the Eagles.
Yes.
And that's basically the spiel I had for today. You have any other thoughts for this one?
No, we pretty much nailed every plot point of that is week 8. We in week 8 now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That's wild.
Yeah, because I'm going.
I still feel like this season just started.
Oh no. Yeah, we are in week 8. Yeah, wow. Yeah, because I'm 2-5 in fantasy.
I'm 3-4 in like every league.
That's
definition of mid.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yep. See you next time.
Hungry and humble.